In 1900, there were approximately 60 passenger and street railway car manufacturers in the United States. By 1970, that number had diminished to only 3, and by 1988, there were none. Hi, this is Jeffrey, and in this video, we're going to take a look at one aspect of the demise of the passenger train manufacturing business in the United States. Now, specifically, we're going to be looking at the near end of the Budd Company. Now, in the mid 1980s, the Budd Company was the only surviving passenger rail car manufacturer in the United States. And even by that time, by the mid 1980s, it was not even domestically owned. It was purchased by a German industrial conglomerate. Now, the Budd Company then brought in a whole new management team. It brought in someone from Germany to manage the whole operation, and it brought in someone who used to manage an entire transit system in the Midwest. And, well, unfortunately, even that was not enough to keep the Budd Company alive, because there were just still too few orders, and they had lost too many orders in the years previous. Now, I found a very interesting article from 1985 from the Los Angeles Times, and we're going to go over this article that describes all of the problems that the Budd Company encountered, what it tried to do in order to keep itself alive. But in the end, 2 years after this article was written, in 1987, the Budd Company produced its last rapid transit car for Chicago, and then the plant closed down. So let's get started in reviewing this interesting article from 1985 about the near end of the Budd Company. So here's the article. Budd's railroad car future uncertain as contracts and time runs out. It's from the LA Times archives of March 5th, 1985, from the Associated Press. Philadelphia. The low gray concrete building stretches 6 football fields in length. Once a bomber factory, it now houses the nation's last rail passenger car manufacturer. For 50 years, the Budd Company was the country's most successful passenger car maker. Budd produced 11,000 rail cars since 1934 in 105 different models, including the classic stainless steel Zephyr, Meteor, and Comet streamliners of the 1930s and 40s. But foreign competition and mounting losses have driven even the name Budd from American railroading. On January 1st, the 2,000-employee railcar division was spun off from the Troy, Michigan-based firm. It was renamed Transit America Incorporated and told to fight for its life. A new chairman. Now a direct subsidiary of the West German Conglomerate, Thyssen AG, the firm has a new chairman direct from Europe, Hans U. Wolf, as well as a president, Larry Salchi, and a chief of operations, Raleigh Huntsman, all brought to the firm in the last 2.5 years. We have to galvanize this company into action, says Wolf, a naturalized U.S. citizen who spent 17 years with General Electric and 9 years with Thyssen-Henschel. There isn't much time, according to Salchi, who left a job in 1982 as head of the Southeastern Michigan Transportation Authority to become president of Transit America and learn how to make the cars he once operated. If we don't win a major job in the next 15 months, our future is in deep question, he says. What has been happening in Washington lately does not provide grounds for good cheer. The administration proposes to slash federal transit subsidies and discontinue Amtrak, the money-losing national passenger railroad for which Transit America hoped to build the next generation of passenger cars. Transit America is now turning out a car a day that sells for $800,000 to $1 million. The cars will go to New York, Chicago, Baltimore, and Miami under contracts awarded before 1980. Those contracts for 1,150 cars will be filled by 1987. Right now, There are no new ones. Lost contract. I haven't seen enough initiative, Wolf says about the company that 3 years ago lost a major hometown Philadelphia subway car contract to Japan's Kawasaki. Salchi says he also remains bitter over the loss of an 825-car New York City Transit Authority contract to Canada's Bombardier, but alleged unfair trade practices and filed but later withdrew a formal complaint which said the Canadian government had subsidized the contract. Transit America has countered with adoption of the Buy America theme in its marketing division. Wolf says a long-standing policy of using only American steel at the Red Lion road car plant will stay firmly in place as an example of the company's commitment to that idea. Equally firm is the goal of cutting costs. The board will not approve prices that will perpetuate the losses, says Wolf. The shareholder, which is Thyssen, will not ride out anything. It's a matter of survival. Costs must come down far enough to land contracts later this year when a large northeastern city is expected to accept bids. Salchi says Transit America, under the old practices and management, lost 14 straight U.S. car contracts to bids that were as much as 40% lower than Transit America's. One step was taken a year ago with the cooperation of the plant's union, the United Auto Workers. Union and company officials abolished standards requiring 300 man-hours to put the shell of a car together. The union proposed 150 man-hours and compromised at 125. Today, they do the job in less than 100 man-hours, Salchi says. Traditional cars. There was an assist from the institution of a bonus program for workers who exceeded productivity standards. Besides getting orders for traditional cars, Transit America must look elsewhere if it hopes to turn a profit. We cannot get into the black on existing business, Salchi says. On a side burner is a continuing development project at Bud's Fort Washington Technical Center, which Transit America uses on a cooperative basis with its former parent. This secret effort involves 3 prototypes for the new generation of passenger cars for Amtrak. The question is, however, whether Amtrak will be around to buy cars. Salchi and Wolf recently met with U.S. Senator John Hines, Republican of Pennsylvania, about the future of the government-owned rail line. The lawmaker was positive about its future, the two reported. David Stockman, director of the Office of Management and Budget, has proposed cutting Amtrak from the budget. Richard Briers, a spokesman for Hines, said Hines and Senator Alphonse D'Amato, Republican of New York, would fight to reauthorize the current mass transit funding system and Amtrak next year. Transit America has another possibility. We are exploring international markets on a select basis, Wolf says. The company is close to a deal with the Egyptian government for a mass transit system in Cairo. Seeking new markets. In trying to tap new markets, Wolf says he will also turn to his old company, the 7,000-employee rail and military vehicle manufacturer Thyssen of Kassel, West Germany, for research help. The wave of the future may be high-speed rail technology, either the maglev, which floats a train above magnetized rails at speeds of up to 250 miles per hour, or the steel wheel, steel rail intercity experimental technology. Henschel is working on both, and Salchi says several American municipalities could place orders in the next decade. And that's the end of the article. Well, that was quite an interesting article, wasn't it? Because you learn that Amtrak could have possibly completely disappeared in the 1980s. Imagine if that had actually happened. Now, Amtrak has recently put out an RFP, a request for proposals for new longer distance passenger trains that will probably be the successor to the superliner. So I guess at first it will supplement the current superliner fleet and then eventually replace it. And I also recently viewed a very interesting video about Siemens, how they have basically taken over the passenger train market, or at least the longer distance passenger train market in the United States. You know, they build the venture cars that are both used by Amtrak and Brightline, and probably other railroads may order them as well. Now, also, there are many foreign manufacturers that build passenger trains, mainly subway cars, that have been established in the United States for some time, such as Kawasaki. They have two plants, one in Yonkers, one in Lincoln, Nebraska, and they are building hundreds and possibly eventually thousands of new subway cars for New York City, because they are really the only company out there that can meet the demanding specifications required for New York. Boston hired CRRC from China to build new subway cars, and that has not turned out all that well. I know that they also built new subway cars for Chicago, and Atlanta is ordering new subway cars, and that will be from a foreign firm. But all of these firms will have factories in the United States. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens with all of these new upcoming orders. So, anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. And as always, thank you very, very much for watching, and have a great day. Bye.